Hello everybody and welcome back, where today it's Sunday, which means we have a whole week ahead of us of PSVR2 news and releases. But a lot has happened in the last week as well, including a bunch of game updates, some announcements, and a clue as to when we'll be hearing a little bit more about Hitman from creators that have played it. Before we get into it, only 25% you are subscribed, so please feel free to do so, and thank you to our patrons and members who are on screen right now. With that being said, let's take a look. First of all, Arcade Paradise VR is on PS Plus Premium. As far as I'm aware, this is the entire game and is well worth checking out if you do have that premium tier. I think Premium has come to a point where it is genuinely a good idea to pick it up if you picked up a headset for the first time, maybe for a month or two, to try out a vast variety of games, whether that be trials or full access like it is for Arcade Paradise. I really enjoyed this one though. I do need to play more of it, but I sank in quite a few hours at launch. There's a lot of content to play around with, and overall a very polished and fun game. Next, the Light Brigade also got an update the other day, including brand new enemy types and a new camera in the game. However, the camera, according to the devs and a couple people that have tried it, is not functional, but I'll explain what that means after we tackle the enemies. Essentially, the new enemy types are elite, so they have a bit more armor, a bit more accurate, and they've also added a bunch of optimizations and balance improvements to the game, outside of the new content being the new enemies. This camera system though essentially allows you on Quest and I think on PSVR to use the Live Creator Kit, which is essentially an LCK camera that can be used between a bunch of different VR games to set up shots to capture your runs in cool ways. And I was really excited to go and try this out, but after questioning the devs on Twitter whether or not this was actually going to be in the PSVR2 build of the game, it turns out that unfortunately it isn't. Mostly because I don't think this Creator Kit is compatible with PSVR2 and the PS5 kind of framework. So that's a bit of a shame. I think the camera is in the game at the moment. Maybe they've taken it out of the last patch that came out yesterday. But from what I last saw, the camera is in the game. It's just not functional, which is, yeah, a bit of a shame. Light Brigade is a great game though, and I'm glad they're still improving on it, even to this day, since it has been a while since it came out. The PSVR2 PC app also got an update. We're now at v3.0.0. This essentially has added a couple of things, mostly stability improvements to the app itself and performance improvements, but also the main thing for this update is they've added the ability to check your Bluetooth quality as you go. So previously, on the launch of the app, there was no indication of whether or not your Bluetooth quality was good or not. Then in v2.0, I want to say, they added the poor Bluetooth quality indicator, and now there's a manual way to check whether or not your Bluetooth quality is good, how good is it, and some improvements that you can maybe make to make it a little bit better. As you know, I use PSVR2 on my PC, so this is a welcome change, and I'm glad they keep on updating it and haven't just left it out there kind of to dry in its state at launch. Next up, we also have Green Hell VR. They've added a brand new co-op mode to Spirits of Amazonia. We saw the co-op mode come to the main game, and now it's available for the DLC. A bunch of new building types have also been added, and this is coming out on March 19th, so in 3 days from now. I did enjoy Green Hell multiplayer for sure, a lot more than single player, so I'm glad that it now includes the DLC. We also got a bit of news from Vegas Infinite. This is kind of the poker game on PS5 and PSVR2. New avatars have landed on PlayStation, so you can now pick from 65 brand new preset avatars to show off your style at the table. A bunch of new customization options are also coming, and next on the agenda is full crossplay. A bunch of new environments and some new features such as player reporting and upgrade slots are also coming to the game. This isn't really one that I've spent a lot of time in. I remember it being hyped up when it came out, and it didn't come out in the UK for a very long time compared to other regions, so I kind of didn't get round to it. I've been meaning to at some point though, especially since it is a hybrid game that you can play with flat and VR players. We also got a brand new release date for Dig VR. This was penned for March 20th, but it has moved to May 1st, and to be honest, I think this will work in its favor. The game we have coming out in May that is the big one is the Midnight Walk. That's coming out, I want to say, on the 12th. So putting it on the 1st of May isn't too bad. There's a bit of space between then, but I think March 20th would have been a bit too close to Underdogs, Hitman, and Wanderer. Dig VR is exactly how you'd expect it to be. It is essentially a construction-style arcade sim, which has got good reviews on Quest, but isn't anything too incredibly realistic on the visual side of things. It is good that it is away from those 3 big releases though. Speaking of those big 3 releases, the latest I have on Wanderer and Hitman for the channel is that I probably won't be covering Hitman. I do have a backup plan for this, so you will be getting some Hitman content 100% from us over here on the channel, but that will be in the form of somebody else taking on the reviewing role and me kind of relaying that information to you. But I'll explain a little bit more as we get a bit closer to the date. And for Wanderer, there still is a little bit of a chance that I might be covering on the channel when the embargo lifts, but I wouldn't really keep my hopes up for that. If that is the case and we come around and I cannot cover the game and talk about it myself, then I will probably do a review roundup video just to get something out there to you guys and kind of give my impressions on what other people are saying about the game, so we'll see what happens there. But there is always the chance that I could get hands-on with it sometime this coming week, but again, I'm not holding my breath. Barbaria has also got a brand new update. This has added a new minion, a replay mode, and a bunch of different changes to both PSVR2 and Quest versions of the game. I really enjoy Barbaria, it's quite a fun one. Haven't jumped into it for a very long time though, so maybe this update will make me do so. Lastly, it seems we won't be waiting too long to get impressions on Hitman, as a couple of creators have been down to Denmark to the studios to go and get hands-on with it. I did hear rumblings about this a couple of weeks ago that this event was going on, and I was very interested to see basically who would be invited and what they would show off, and it seems like they've shown off a couple levels of the game, judging by Gamertag, who went, I think, last week, has posted on his socials, and I would guess it'll be this coming week that we'll probably hear a little bit more about it. It does lead me to question whether or not we'll be seeing codes go out before the game comes out. I don't really have anything to say about that, I have no idea. All I know is codes haven't gone out just yet, and we're about, 2 weeks away from launch now, which is usually the time you'd see codes go out, unless, it's a bit of an outlier like Behemoth. But again, the game is a DLC, so I'm not sure what really is going to happen on that front. Either way, it shouldn't be too long until we see those impressions from those hands-on sessions, and I'll be sure to keep you updated when we do. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. That has been the PSVR news for today and this coming week, and I hope to see you all in the next one.